Hello and welcome everyone to the Rainbow Six Siege Rivals hosted by the eSports faction. We are currently in the lobby and we'll start right now as we head into the first matchup of the day, the first quarterfinal, as ISIBLACK face off against INCREMENTAL on Border.
Yeah, this is going to be quite an interesting game, I think. I always like to see what people do on this map in particular, specifically because the vertical play on this map can be pretty interesting, can be pretty fun.
Yeah, as we head into the ban phase now, should maybe see something to counter the vertical play, but Thatcher first banned, quite a common ban as well. A lot of outside main walls that would be breached on this site, specifically Armory Locker side, Tellers, Archives, and well, Bathroom as well. So quite a common ban. Let's see what ISIBLACK decide to respond with their ban.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some pretty standard stuff coming out from both of the teams here today. Actually, ooh, this is a spicy one because Ying was recently buffed and then hotfixed a little bit, or one of her candelas was removed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think if anything, the buff really woke people up to how strong she can be, not really changing that much. But mirror ban actually, once again, heading to the common bans.
Yeah, that's a pretty standard ban. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw like an echo on here. The echo can be pretty strong, obviously, denying the planter. So that's a usual kind of thing that we might see coming out. If we see something different, okay, interesting. Valk, that's also a pretty spicy one on this map. So unsurprising.
Okay, heading into it now, Team INCREMENTAL will be starting on defense. See where they decide to go and what their plan of attack is, or rather plan of defense is.
Yeah. I think just going back to what you said just now, I think people have actually woken up quite quickly to how strong Ying can actually be. Specifically because if you bring out her gun, it's just got so many bullets in it, and plus her smokes now, which she's been buffed with, and added to that her gadget. It's just so much zone control. It's
She's,
ridiculous.
in my mind, the same lane as Zofia, where you can just essentially be a one-man army. She has breaches, or she has an option between breaches and flashes, and then a Yink and Delas. She can kind of do anything. On top of that, a strong gun. Well, that's why you ban her. Heading into it now, let's see what they do to defend the site.
Yeah, so it is going to be that second floor up here. This is a pretty popular site. Most people try and first pick this one, not really wanting to try out any of the other ones. There are a couple of strong sites on this map, in my opinion, but most people tend towards this one for the most part.
Yeah, we see outside reinforcements coming into offices, well, a few feet holes into main armory. So the 90 walls actually reinforced. Looks like a pretty far out hold coming out from them on the top floor, not roaming too much at the moment. See the Nomad actually on the enemy team. You should be able to actually counter this closer roam play quite effectively. See, they turn out doing actually a Twitch here, even though the mirrors banned, quite a odd pick, but why not?
Yeah, the nice thing about Twitch on this map is that she can take out the default cams pretty nicely inside the sites, which can be pretty helpful for just like going into the sites itself and inside the buildings and all that. And it really helps considering that if you have that Twitch, you can take out the cameras and they won't actually know where you're coming from.
And well, it doubles as a drone. Looks like Twitch droning out the Vigil at the moment. Doesn't look like he knows he's been drone out. Team ISIBLACK starting to drone out CCTV. Looks like that's where the bulk of their push is going to come from, but also actually Thermite opening office wall and see what they can do with this, as Bandit is currently playing in office. He is on an island here. He cannot really rotate if that wall's now opened up, holding his main flank or his main rotate.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yeah, so right now they're just kind of creating pressure on the map and just making the holes where they want to make the holes and being able to get the peaks. And speaking of making holes and getting peaks, there's the first one.
First bullet of this game, big feature of all the previous games I've casted, but yeah, this one as spicy as ever. Is Blackbeard actually situated on vents? But a power plays, he's currently holding the rotate of both the Legion and the Bandit, who kind of stuck in office at the moment, but he peeks wide into the angle, gets killed by the Blackbearders. Now 3 players left, last live on the side of Incremental. Let's see what they can do with this. This round already falling apart at the seams 2 minutes in.
Yeah, and that's just, I guess, the power of being able to just pop open holes across the map and across the site, and just watching through them, you know, creating all those pressures, forcing people to rotate into the holes that you've already made, so that you can just straight up kill them once they come past.
2 players office, 1 on vents, as well as Sandwich being held at the moment. This looked like a lockout for Team ISIBLACK, if anything. These guys have a lot of control at the moment.
Yeah, they've just got perfect side control, and they should be able to get the diffuser down pretty quickly.
Smoke and Legion are still left alive on the side of Incremental. They could actually stall this out, as if Smoke has all 3 canisters left. 30 seconds on the clock. He can smoke out 1 doorway for the rest of the game. And a great flank actually coming out from Kaiko. He drops the thermite. Now in a 3-on-3 situation, this is actually looking viable for Team Incremental, as, well, Team ISIBLACK needs to get the diffuser down.
Yeah, I mean, getting all that pressure on the map means absolutely nothing if you're not going to do something with it, if you're not going to get the diffuser down, or at least take out the rest of the enemy team. So this is looking a lot more durable as the time ticks down, and there it is. That's actually it.
Yeah, that if anything, that was kind of poor from Team ISIBLACK. They had, well, full control, they just didn't really do anything with it.
Yeah, once you have full control, you pretty much have to pull the trigger. You know, you can't just sit there. You've completed step 1, but step 2 is actually play around the objective. You know, you've got the control you need. Now you need to get the diffuser down, or if you're playing for frags, you need to start picking off the people. You need to start moving in towards that objective. You can't just sit there and do nothing and hope that people walk into your angles. You know, it works in the beginning, but once a couple of people have died, they realize they can't just run around, and the strategy changes, and the defenders play for time. You know, so you have to keep moving. You can't just be static.
Yeah, if anything, it creates a feeling of uncertainty, of not really knowing what you want to do, where you want to push as a team. Just uncoordinated, if anything. But let's see what they can do as Team Incremental head to, I believe this was Ventilation Workshop, as their second defensive site.
Defenders, protect your
Yeah,
bombs
my
from
question
being
there
defused
is,
by
what
attackers.
exactly happened to stop the thermite from getting the bomb down on B? Because from what I saw that the thermite had a charge on the wall against B side, and I think he was about to blow it up or something along those lines. But I didn't see what exactly it was that stopped him from being able to just step in, put the bomb down, or the diffuser down, and then just leave.
See quite a prominent top floor roam coming out. At the moment there's 3 players currently situated top floor, as 90 is being rotated, as well as Armory Wall, and not into offices, but all of bathroom and rotation into bathroom, with quite an odd castle play at the moment, as he has gotten the bathroom doorway as well as ventilation window.
Yeah, what it tells me is that the defending team right here, they know that playing on the first floor means that they have to have a presence on the second floor, because even though they're on the bomb is actually on the first floor, the site opens itself up to a lot of vertical play, and most attacking teams prefer to attack the top floor first, clear it out, and then move down and get themselves a lot of more kind of control over the site, being able to attack from the top and the sides. So it's good here that the defense knows that they have that potential issue and are playing above the site as well.
Yeah, but, I mean, say what you want about the top floor hold. If you can't hold that top floor, you're kind of screwed. Once you lose control, you can get, well, angles work both ways. If you get killed on the top floor, you can't hold it as well, and they can hold it. And as we see that, the top floor roam coming out from Team ISIBLACK as well, starting to clear out the roamers. We see 1 player situated outside of Sandwich window, but ISIBLACK on the Twitch actually pushing aggressive into CCTV. It looks like he peeked into the hallway, getting the entry pick onto Erko, which is the Mozzie. Not really someone you want as your first pick as well. Those Mozzie drones can help you quite a lot later on into the round, being able to rotate them around based on where the attackers are coming from.
Yeah, so right now we're seeing that Twitch clearing out the top floor. We're seeing them kind of just doing exactly what the normal sort of setup is. They're getting that top floor control. You can see here they're pretty much using the defender setup to try and help them along as well. But once they've got the top floor control, the question is, do they pull the trigger? We saw them fail in the first round, so they definitely have that in the back of their mind for sure. They have to be working on that one.
Lost a 5v3 last time, let's see if they can do it again. But Vlad on the Vigil actually situated on top of these stairs. He has quite of a power position at the moment as these players of ISIBLACK need to rotate through here. There's the Twitch still located in CCTV. A lot of top floor angles being opened up by Team ISIBLACK as well as, I believe, both hatches being opened up. A lot of control coming out from the attacking team now. But Vlad actually peeking aggressively into the Twitch, which is holding into CCTV, but the plant coming out from ISITABO and Thermite. Diffusers going down in ventilation. Defenders just completely unaware of this.
Yeah, so this is that trigger that wasn't pulled the first time. You know, the Thermite actually does step in this time and put the diffuser down. So this is a step in the right direction compared to the previous round. The question is now, can they hold this?
Well, with the top floor roam presence being completely cleared out and the top floor control in the favor of Team ISIBLACK, it looks like it. As Kaiko doing what he can to retake top floor, holding the angles onto the diffuser from the top floor, but gets killed himself by getting into a Nomad and gets killed by a crossfire held by the Thermite, as well as the Sledge doing a bit of damage onto him from above.
Yeah, and that was exactly what we wanted to see from them. You know, they were just corrected the mistakes of the previous round. They were able to get the top floor control, and as soon as they realized that they could actually just walk in and plant, they did so, and then that was pretty much that. So props to them for being able to just make that little correction and being able to take that round for themselves.
One thing I wonder is whether that was purely because they were able to get the top floor presence and utilize it downwards onto the bottom site. Essentially, is it the site that helped them, or was it something they switched up in the play? Let's see if they can carry it on to the second time attacking Ventilation Workshop.
Yeah, I suppose we will see in terms of that question.
Echo actually coming out from Team Incremental, starting to switch things up. I don't think I've seen
Yeah,
it earlier in this game.
This is a good pick. I think since Echo wasn't banned, you know how absolutely powerful he can be. Just being able to disrupt the diffuse planter is a really powerful thing, obviously, and he has a little bit of extra use on that shield that can block things up, make it a bit more difficult for attackers to kind of penetrate the site. So this is a nice play, especially considering what it appears is that the defense team, they like to play off-site, they like to play above-site, which is a great thing. That's exactly what Echo wants to do. You know, he just wants to toss his drones out and then just leave, and that fits in pretty well with the play style. So they should be able to stop a Thermite from doing a cheeky plant this time around. Let's see if that is indeed the case.
Echo, the day one introvert of Rainbow Six Siege, just tosses out his drone and stays on his camera. And see what he can do for his team as well. Team ISIBLACK starting to spawn in, looking to take map control, see what they can do with it. Pull from ISITABO, that's
Cool.
Sledge. I think that's a long angle he held into either long hallway or offices.
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
Yeah, that's a really quick frag there, putting the defense on the back
Attackers
foot for a
recovered the
second.
diffuser. The attackers bombed the
See, actually, the Icon Thermite situated outside of
by attackers.
parking lots, outside of jail side. Ergo on the Jaeger could actually do something about it if he decides to peek the windows. IQ is currently oblivious to it. She's on her cam. But actually, top floor as well. ISITABO opening the wall, being Vandertricked at the moment. As IQ's trying to do something about it, but the Jaeger peeks out, gets a kill onto the IQ. Now on a 4v4. One player actually leaves from Team Incremental. That's quite unfortunate, but the round has already started. Cannot rehost now. Being spotted on a drone. Cannibal on the roam clear. As ISITABO and the Twitch currently situated in office. They are very vulnerable to this flank coming out from Cannibal, but actually a thermite charge being placed on the wall. Can he do anything about this? No, the wall's being opened as well as his sandwich wall. This is his sandwich window being held. This guy's being held from every single crossfire at the moment, but he somehow stays alive and actually does a lot of damage onto ISITABO of the Sledge, but SABC getting dropped by ISIKOTO.
Yeah, that was quite a pinch from all sides. Manages to get out, but Jaeger's the last one left alive at the moment. And so 1v3, the diffuser will go down. So this is going to be a pretty difficult retake. Oh, just doesn't stop the thermite. That's unfortunate.
Well, at least buys him some time, able to rotate out. Knows the diffuser won't be planted. For now, at least, as he does a lot of damage, actually gets a kill onto the Nomad. ISIBLACK once again
really
trying to plant the diffuser. Top floor, however, being held from the sledge, and he gets the angle.
Yeah, and that's just the power of being able to, you know, take that upper floor control. You know, once you're in this clutch situation, you can just have an angle that they're not expecting, and then boom, you pretty much win that automatically.
Yeah, we saw him actually rotate around to another position, try and get the plant down. Very wise of him, where he could actually be held by the attacking player of ISIBLACK on the sledge. Great teamwork coming out from them. As well, 2 rounds played on the bottom floor. Team Incremental now able to head back to Armory Lockers, their primary bomb site.
Yeah, so let's see if the attackers can kind of keep their streak of correcting their first round mistake. Obviously, they didn't really pull the trigger on when they attacked this site the last time, but it seems that they have learned from that. So let's see if this time they can pull it off a little bit more smoothly.
Yeah, we saw them take a lot of control. They just weren't able to leverage it from there onto anything. If anything, we saw them actually improve on that in the previous 2 rounds. So I'm hopeful for them being able to actually transition that first round, that early game momentum, into the plant, or just winning it on gunfights.
Yeah, interesting to see here the Legion coming out. This could be a pretty decent pick in terms of playing for time.
As well as SABC on this smoke, we saw him in the previous round on Armory Lockers. 30 seconds into the round, he still had all 3 smoke canisters. And we know how smoke is used. Later on into the round, he gets an absolutely exponential growth curve, and how important his utility is later on into the round. But a tight angle actually being held by Ergo almost gets damage done onto, I believe that was the Nomad of ISIBLACK. CCTV take once again coming out from ISIBLACK, wanting to drone it out, but no presence actually from the roamers inside of CCTV.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice, and I think what we see coming out here from defense is that they're trying to play for as much time as possible, you know, with the Legion, the Smoke, the Bandits, the Jaeger. They're trying to just hold out for as long as possible and play time, which was the weakness that they saw in the first round, and they're trying to just recreate that once again.
Just quickly, how absolutely important this Nomad is on this window. She's cutting off the rotates from 2 players currently in Armory and the 2 players in office side. This one angle being held is completely locking up the defensive side, and they can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, they're either going to have to chance the peek onto that one and try and win that one off of Pika's advantage alone, or they're just going to have to sit tight and hope they can stop the push.
Jaeger ADS actually catching one of the grenades on the sledge. See if he can lob the second one in, as well. If he can land this, oh, just misses the angle. But he gets the the bandits actually.
Oh, that way, that's actually pretty big. If he can get the wall open, that's going to be huge. But the bandit is tricking this wall, so once again, they're just playing for the time, wasting as much util as possible, and sort of playing the war of attrition here.
I mean, if they can't really use their utility at the moment, they won't be able to leverage anything. Even with Pimpy on the window, even with the players stuck, you have to get the kills. As Vlad, well, he gets a kill, and that's the sledge gone, and that is the nades gone. Now ISIBLACK looking to open up the wall once again, but I mean, Bandit still has batteries left, but he actually leaves it. Oh, rush from Pimpy nets 2 kills, but Cannibal on the Jaeger actually gets the refrag now in a 3-on-2. They have lost side control. ISIBLACK going for the plant. Diffuser is planted, but Kaiko gets a kill onto EC. That is the Blackbeard gone. Now on a 2-on-2.
Super winnable.
Oh no, he doesn't check the corner, he gets killed by the thermite and lost live. Cannibal gets killed by Quartzo on the Twitch. Quite unfortunate that just not checking his corner. If he had, maybe being able to open up the angle for his teammate, being able to push into Armory, but no, round goes the way of Team ISIBLACK.
Yeah, and the results of that actually, because the defense, they did pretty decently actually. They managed to get themselves into a 2v2 situation, which is pretty much better than they could have expected, considering the control that the attackers had. But it's just up to them, essentially losing certain gunfights that they needed to win, that swung that round pretty much.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Yeah, it certainly is. One thing I'm very interested in here is the decision to pick up the dock on the defense. Yeah, it's interesting the choice here because we once again see a pretty similar setup, a sort of waste time setup, which
10
seemed
seconds
to
to
work
go.
almost all the way for them in the previous round. You know, they have that bandits,
5
which
seconds
will
left.
be able to deny any thermites, etc. And obviously, because that Thatcher is banned, it's going to be difficult to
Attackers'
clear out
objective is to locate
the
a bomb and
bandits.
defuse it.
And then, of course, you have the Legion in the smoke once again, with coupled with the ADSs of Jaeger. It's going to make things pretty difficult to sort of penetrate the site once again. But the difference here is the dock, which will allow the defenders to kind of take aggressive angles or potentially fights that they may not have taken before, but this time with the extra added health for the support from the dock might be a bit more doable.
Detected a bomb. Flag change. I do this on my downtime. Sweeping perimeter. Located a bomb. Time to ring some ears.
Yeah, that is something I actually almost wanted to speak about just now. I was saying it's very interesting that they haven't decided to defend CCTV despite it being the a central point of attack for the attackers. But this time, the Legion does rotate and he gets 2 frags for his trouble, which is pretty big.
Take cover. It's hot.
That is unfortunate.
Some serious drywall work coming up.
Located by attackers.
Throwing flashbang.
Seconds left.
Yeah, that's a lot of attackers gone, and that's going to make things pretty
10
difficult.
seconds to go.
The Thermite is the last one left alive here, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be, yeah, impossible. There it is. Defenders take that round, and that was well played, I think. No worries. Yeah, and I just want to talk about that one play. I think literally the biggest change there, aside from the dock, which I don't think was super impactful, is the fact that they decided to defend CCTV this time around. Or at least the Legion rotated in there to be able to defend it. And with the success off of that was pretty much the key factor in throwing a big wrench in the works when it comes to the attackers.
Yeah, I mean, just weren't losing their gunfights early on. If it was Kaiko and the Legion getting 2 kills extremely early on, that was great for his team.
Yeah, ultimately, when it comes down to it, strategies are one thing, but it doesn't really matter if you're winning gunfights because if you win the gunfights, you win,
Defenders,
regardless
protect your
of what
bombs from
strategy
being
you have.
defused by attackers.
Quickly to remove a few keybinds so I don't mute myself once again, but heading to Ventilation Workshop once again. If they can win this, it's a 3-3 split for Team Incremental on the defensive side.
10 seconds left
It's
before
a
insertion.
it's a 1-to-1 split, but still you'd want to take more defensive
5
rounds,
seconds remaining.
especially on border, which is such a defensive side map.
Yeah, absolutely.
Attackers are moving out to locate
Once
a
again, we
bomb and
see that
defuse
kind
it.
of standard setup. The addition of the castle here, I think, is a really, really good addition because they're able to block up that window, which was causing them so much issues. You know, the Nomad holding that angle there, making things very difficult to rotate back and forth. And now they have really a nicely well-rounded T-comp of wasting time,
Attackers have
basically. They
located a
have
bomb.
Bandit again, the Jaeger, the Smoke, castle. But speaking of Jaeger, he's just been down.
And PvP seeing his sandwich repel is not open, well, peeks into Ventilation, decides to back off of it as well, but Ergo is actually dropped at 90. I think that was just a pre-fire from the spawn side, as he actually gets dropped.
Oh, that is unfortunate. See, they take CCTV control once again because, you know, as we see, taking the second floor is pretty much the key in terms of winning this map. They take that second floor control, they attack through CCTV, but this time there's no Legion in there to stop anyone.
Yeah, very unfortunate Ergo getting dropped so early on, just a common pre-fire being held from Team ISIBLACK. Great game knowledge to actually know players would be situated there. Well, works in their favor as they now open armory wall, they've leverage onto the top floor.
Yeah, that wall being open is super, super important because now the defenders literally can't walk into that area of the map. They just simply can't. If they do, they lose.
And it's Isigoto pushing to 90 side, cutting off the rotate between Vlad on the Mozzie and Kaiko on the castle. Sledge actually pushing aggressively. I don't know if they know about Kaiko in this position as he actually gets dropped, but Vlad refrags onto him, being able to keep him alive, but he gets killed himself. It's now both top floor players being killed.
Yeah, and this is just the defenders losing control of pretty much everything, considering their top floor presence wasn't really there. It wasn't as strong as we saw it in the round where they won. You know, I'm surprised that they didn't decide to just send so many to Europe again, considering the success that they had on there.
Damage done by the smoke. Very smart to push in aggressively there, but just can't get the kill. Diffuser is now down for Team ISIBLACK as 2 players left last live, being held by the top floor angles. 1v4, it's not looking good.
Yeah, this is pretty much unwinnable here. There's too many angles being held. There's too many attackers, you know, just existent on the map for Cannibal to do really anything about it. And considering he's on like 25 HP, there's literally nothing he can do. There's the victory for attackers there on round 6.
Yeah, and that's Team ISIBLACK taking a 4-2 split on their attacking side. Great play coming out from them.
So the real question is now that we see a 4-2 split, essentially, in the favor of the attackers of the previous round, question is, are they as strong on defense as they need to be to just keep that going? Because, as you said, the defense side, you kind of want to get as many rounds as possible, and that's not really what happened here.
Yeah, if anything, definitely looking good for Team ISIBLACK as well. This is a defender-sided game traditionally, and heading to the defensive side. Defending Armory Lock is definitely one of the most defender-sided sites on border. Opting to take this smoke warrior, actually quite a strange pick coming out from EC, but let's see what they can use it for.
Yeah, the
Attackers need to
Goyo pick
locate
is
and
an
defuse
interesting
bombs.
topic of conversation actually, because Goyo used to be a staple. You know, in very recent times, Goyo was pretty much a must-have on defensive sides for a lot of defense maps, because the fact that he's able to just bring so much utility
Attackers
in the
have
form of
discovered
his
the location
shields
of a bomb.
is really one of those things where, like we saw in the previous half when the defense team was trying to waste time, the Goyo was essentially the biggest part of that, because he had 3 shields under his belt. He could just toss out all these shields plus everything else to try and waste, you know, and burn down the attacker's utility. You could waste so much time because it would be very, very difficult to clear out all the Goyo shields,
5 seconds
plus
left
all the
before
Jaeger
insertion.
ADSs, plus the Bandit, plus the smoke, you know, plus the this and that, and it's just difficult to push through all of that stuff as attackers. And with the recent Goyo nerfs, obviously he no longer has 3 shields, he only has 2. So the question is, now that he has only 2 shields, is that enough to say, all right, he's not viable anymore? Or are those 2 shields still, you know, enough there to say, yeah, he's still viable to sort of waste the utility of the attackers?
Yeah, and as you're talking about how important utility is, Bandit wastes his C4 because his team hasn't brought any shotguns opening up rotations. That's quite unfortunate that it has to come to that. Team ISIBLACK definitely, oh sorry, Team INCREMENTAL definitely doing something out of the ordinary, currently taken from the east side on the rappel balcony side. We saw Team ISIBLACK on their attacking side, mainly focusing on CCTV, entering from there and just leveraging onto offices or main wall in armory from there. But Team INCREMENTAL doing something strange, opting to go for office side first as well as the balcony side. See what they can do with this.
Yeah, and obviously the reason that they were taking the CCTV controls, because that's such a pinpoint thing that they found against the defenders not really taking any control of that. When they droned it out, they saw, well, they don't really put anyone in here, so it was easier to take CCTV. But conversely now, this time around, they'll be obviously attacking from a different side.
That is just unfortunate. The power of a Nomad charge, just rotating into it and getting instantly dropped as Kaiko. It's a nutty headshot.
Yeah, that's a lot of defenders down right now. Not a situation you want to be in, you know, in terms of if you want to waste time. This is not exactly how you do it. You don't want to go down early. That defeats the whole purpose. And now it's pretty much Bandit in a 1v everyone, and there it goes. Can't win the fight.
INCREMENTAL completely collapsing onto side, taking it in a flawless round. Just superb gunplay coming out from these guys. Brilliant work coming out from Mental as well. Take the first attacking round. Definitely setting good precedent. Attacking side.
The incrementals seem to be a lot more capable, or at least from the face of things at the moment, on the attacking side than they were on the defense side. And sometimes, even though a map can be one-sided in terms of attackers or defenders, it doesn't matter. Sometimes if some teams are just better at certain sides, you know, then it can kind of even itself out for a bit.
Yeah, and you see ISIBLACK so shaken by it, they actually head to Ventilation Workshop, their second favorite bomb site. Opting to not go for
Attackers need to
just
locate and defuse
brute
as
forcing
many
it, going
bombs as they
second
can.
time, hoping for a different turnout. Heading to Ventilation Workshop, let's see what they can do with this as well. It looks like they have a top floor contingent as well.
Yeah, I believe, I don't know if it was you that I was actually casting the match with, where we saw a team who brute forced the site about 3 times in a row. Yeah,
A correction,
it was
5.
interesting. I mean, I think it worked like on the 4th or 3rd time or something like that. But it was, I mean, that was some real dedication. And obviously, this, as we're seeing now, is not that level of dedication. It's a much more smart, logical play. They lose the site, they realize, all right, let's switch things up and not kind of do the same thing over again.
So just some context to the viewers here. I believe it was the finals of, what was that? I can't even remember the tournament name, but a team actually went to Armory Lockers 5 times in a row, not winning it once, then finally heading to Ventilation Workshop and winning it. Just not able to switch out their play, not willing to change anything up, and well, sometimes it just doesn't work.
I mean, that is dedication right there. That is absolute dedication.
It's dedication, but you have to question the motive.
Yeah, it's dedication, but it's not smart dedication, at least not in my opinion. You know, the first time, alright, the second time, fine. The third time is questionable, but 5 times it's just ridiculous.
CCTV cover control in the side of INCREMENTAL now as they take it early on into the round, opening up into Visa. See what they can do with this.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Yeah, so the question I was going to ask is, do the defenders actually post people up on the second floor? Now, it looks like they've decided to do that. Ooh, Bandit using those nice iron sights to take down the Zofia. That's going to be a pretty nice pick. But just going back to what I was saying, it looks like they haven't taken control of CCTV room, but it seems like it doesn't matter because of the Bandit was holding such a decent angle.
That's another kill coming out from the exact same spot.
Yeah.
What just happened? And looks like a bit of banter coming out in chat as Team Incremental seemingly oblivious to what just happened.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty smart angle. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I said that no one was holding CCTV, but no one has to be in CCTV to hold that angle. So, yeah, props to them for having a creative little angle there that really got them some frags. And that's going to be a pretty decent step forward, step in the right direction for winning this against Team Incremental, who were so strong on the previous attacking round.
Yeah, and that's a lot of utility gone on the side of Team Incremental, as both the Jackal and the Zofia. Smoke sets Zofia's impacts as well as concussions, flashes maybe. Just a lot of utility gone.
Yeah, not only that, but of course the attackers now have to waste a whole lot of utility taking the top floor because of that presence. So they're going to be wasting quite a bit of util on the first floor, and that, I mean on the second floor, sorry, and that's not going to help very much if they can't use it on the first floor where the bomb site actually is. And there's the Bandit, those iron sights coming in super clutch. Yeah, I guess you don't need sights on the Bandit gun.
Yeah, just absolutely brute forcing the way in. 3 kills on the round, just peeking this angle, but yo, gets dropped out of the thermite. That's a great angle, actually. Cannibal on the Nomad, dropping him, great angle being held, but Mozzie is still top floor. He does a lot of damage on the IQ that actually gets dropped as a great peek coming out from the IQ now in a 2-on-2 situation. This is looking better, but still not winnable.
15 seconds left.
Yeah, I mean, it's the step in the right direction. You know, when you suddenly lose 2 players immediately to an angle that you really didn't expect, you need to kind of take a couple steps back and say, all right, how do we approach this again to try and do something and bring the round back in the favor? But that's not how you do it.
Check your angles. We've seen this whole game. We see, so I believe it was Legion rotating out of CCTV in an earlier round, just not checking his angles, and well, both the IQ and the Nomad heading into the window, just not checking for the Jaeger, and gets the kill.
Yeah, that was questionable. I must say, I was gonna say, you know, you need to take a step back and reassess the situation and kind of go in with a different plan. And it seemed like they were doing that. They managed to take down the Bandit and get themselves into a 2v3, which was a lot more winnable. And then for some reason, they just both decided to jump into the same window, which they hadn't really droned out or gotten any sort of information on. So that was pretty questionable, in my opinion. Not too sure what went on there. Perhaps it was the time just ticking away too quickly and they thought they needed to pull the trigger on something, but in my opinion that's just not the play. And obviously they just kind of got crossed by two defending players who were just there and taken out immediately. So that's going to be 5-3 now.
Yeah, I guess the question you just always have to ask yourself is the information you'll get by droning out a bit worth the time? And with 15 seconds left on the clock, yeah, you just have to rush in that window.
Yeah, and I suppose that owes to the fact that they had to spend so much time on the second floor thanks to the Bandit, and thanks to the fact that they needed to clear the rest of the top floor just to make sure it was safe before moving on down. Time ticks away, they can't do anything about it. They don't really have time to drone, so they just YOLO it through a window, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, 5-3 now on the side of Team ISIBLACK. Just need 2 more rounds and they can lock this out as they now head back to Armory Lockers. See what they can do with this.
5 seconds.
Yeah, so this is the kind of sight that we've seen the most in this match so far, and I kind of that kind of makes me question: have these teams actually practiced this map, or is this just a map that they've practiced on before they feel comfortable on it? Because in my opinion, there is a nice first floor map in, I think I'm not too sure which side it is. I can't remember what the name is. It's on the first floor though. It's the other side, not the one that we've seen in this match. That's perfectly defensible, but teams don't seem to kind of want to go there.
Yeah, it seems these guys are just playing with their ranked strats at the moment, not really going for any bathroom tellers, holds, just playing it very linear.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how much that works out for them, of course. There's going to be another setup, except there's Jaeger. It's going to be a lot of utility to now. I'm not too sure how much utility they expect to come at them. But yeah, a couple of those Goyo shields is going to be pretty spicy.
4 players currently situated outside of office, as well as Nomad
Diffuser has been dropped.
on the vents unit.
Attackers have recovered
Well,
their
Maya is the one pillar of their defense at the moment. If he loses this, it's not looking good, as well then they have crossfire from both sides, and yep, he loses it. Team Incremental now has a crossfire from both sides onto the B site.
a bomb.
Yeah, that's definitely not what you want when you're on the defense here. You don't want to be losing that sort of pinnacle. And this is going to make holding the sides pretty difficult.
Yeah, ISIBLACK are actually peeking into the hallway, but as his teammates get dropped, what can you do? You're left in a 2-5, just
Attackers have dropped the bomb.
the odds completely stacked against you as Mozzie situated down below actually gets a kill, but his C4 has been expended. He needs to rotate back upstairs, and well, Crossfire is being held. That's the IQ on the doorway. Peeks in, but actually gets dropped by ISIBLACK. Great kill coming out from him. That's 2 on the round now in a 1v3.
Attackers are
He
activating.
needs to ace clutch this if he wants to win this, as the diffuser now planted. 1v3 situation, let's see what he can do.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty uphill battle for him. He needs to win some very key fights, and he needs to take them 1v1 essentially. If he gets double peeked or even triple peeked, things are going to end up being very difficult. He doesn't check the stairwell, so that's going to be pretty much that.
Yeah, great hold coming out from Team Incremental, I believe. Once they took control of site, they just rotated out, knowing the players need to rotate back onto site. They just held it passively, and well, so the Jackal doing exactly that, rotating to east stairs, getting the kill onto the Mozzie, just playing their angle passively.
Yeah, it's going to be 5-4 here, so things are a lot closer than they were a couple rounds ago. See how these teams decide to pan this out.
Yeah, actually heading back to Armory Lockers. See, they can change things up. Actually, an Ella pick, but it's being 6-picked at the moment, a Jaeger.
Yeah, I see the Frost
yeah,
pick, that's
what's up with that?
I honestly thought the Frost was going to be the 6th pick out into something else, but it seems like they're 6th picking Niella into the Jaeger, which is interesting. I'm quite interested to see what
Defenders,
exactly
protect
their
your
thought
bombs from
process
being
behind
defused
bringing
by
the Frost
attackers.
is. You know, they obviously identified some sort of point where they're like, yeah, okay, this is a problem. We need to be able to bring some sort of utility here that we didn't have before. So I'm interested to see where this Frost gets played.
I think the main point at the moment, as you see the Frost actually putting it up, is we saw Team Incremental take control of the windows early on, as this window here in offices as well as the window onto the AC vent. That was the 2 main contestation points on the side of Team Incremental. That's where they pushed from, and well, putting a Frost mat there, it could prove to delay them just for a few seconds, or maybe get the kill.
Yeah, and I suppose that's all they're really
5
hoping
seconds to
for.
go.
Yeah, this game has been won on early engagement thus far. Let's see if it continues as we head into the 10th round on this game in a 5-4 scoreline. Definitely an important one for Team ISIBLACK, as they still have the lead, but they can lose it in this round.
Yeah, I suppose the other added benefit that comes with picking that Frost is that you also have the smoke, and both of those operators can bring shields in. So instead of bringing the Goyo, you can just bring the smoke and the Frost, who both have shields, and then use their added bonus utility as well, you know, for the gadgets.
Yeah, you see the shield being utilized, one I believe in Armory side as well as one into the fountain areas. A very strong fountain and office hold coming out from the Frost and Jaeger, as well as I believe one player situated bottom stairs, but not really spot him at the moment, as SABC opens up main Armory wall with 2 minutes still left on the round.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting wall, actually, because this is a pretty strong wall to have open early on, but the fact that they have a shield here means that Smoke will be able to just kind of sit and play this angle, no problem.
Being droned out, and Though might be kicking wide into his angle, but he has the shield to play with. He can just quick peek this, but Oga actually getting dropped by Mpimpi. That is the the Frost coming out to great utilization, as Thermite actually spots the bandit, gets the pick onto him. Great angle. Tabu using his smoke canisters now. Minute 30 left. It does a bit of damage onto SABC, but you have to ask, is it worth it, as Nomad charges now being set onto half wall. Thermite actually rushing in, but being held. Smoke gets the kill, but I believe that's a trade, as well, 3-on-3 now with the attackers having side control. Mozzie is down below. He could actually get this C4 kill. He has the C4 in his
gonna go
pocket,
for it,
but
though?
oh,
He doesn't
Don't
go
think
for
he
it.
had
Yeah, it's gonna
balls
come
from
in
his
late. I don't
teammates.
think he gets this one. No, it misses.
yeah, that
That's
is unfortunate.
Obviously, he wasn't aware that the bomb was even going down. Now, it's going to make the retake pretty difficult. Now it's 1v2 and 1 HP for the Jaeger. Pretty much, you know, a breath of air his way is going to take him out.
Had a bit of a bad feeling as I saw the frost mat, but then remembering it's a defender.
And there it is.
Yeah, Jackal playing in sandwich gets the final kill. Playing passively, 10 seconds left on the diffuser. He had to push and gets the kill. Wins the round, now at 5-5.
Yeah, and honestly, in my mind, that pretty much came down to the fact that the defenders decided not to trick that main wall there that got taken open, and instead of kind of holding that wall, they wanted to hold behind that shield, which is a decent idea in and of itself. But if you want to do that, I honestly don't think that the smoke should be the one sitting behind that shield. You most likely want someone with a gun that has a bit less recoil and a bit easier to control, so that you can actually win the fights if somebody decides to push you. You know, instead what we saw was the smoke holding that angle very, very passively, because if he peeked at all, he would be taken down.
Defenders, protect
Not
your
really
bombs
being
from
able to
being
trust
defused
in
by
the gun
attackers.
itself to do the damage necessary. And
Even
maintain
further
its
than
accuracy.
just the gun being kind of weak, the main point of a smoke is being able to deny entry from far away. You can chuck those smoke canisters pretty far. You don't need to be that close to the wall to actually smoke it off.
Yeah, and I suppose if you want to play super close, Smoke also has that shotgun, which perhaps should have been utilized in that situation.
Active.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah. Strong top floor hold coming out from Team ISIBLACK as they need to win this one if they want to deny an overtime game, but it's looking a lot more likely as we
Defuse a bomb.
get into the 11th round at the moment.
Yeah, it seems these teams have kind of felt each other out for a little bit, so they're doing a whole bunch of counterplay now and winning back and forth. And now that we're even, somebody has to sort of pull ahead. Somebody has to get creative and take the lead somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, we see Team Incremental once again going for the east side of the map, entering from office side. Nomad situated outside of AC, ISIBLACK. And on top floors, popped out by EC on the Bandit.
Surveying for hostiles. Special charge. Clear.
Office wall being opened up, and well, attacking side of Incremental now has some leverage onto the attackers. Oh, sorry, the defenders playing top floor, but long angles being held by Team Incremental.
Yeah, so we see
Oh,
second floor.
okay, Pimpy.
That was interesting.
Definitely a big thing coming out as that's the IQ dropped. They can't get any utility from top floor anymore as Bandit's still playing aggressive inside of Armory Desk. Inside of small box as the attack is now starting to push into Archives, but Cannibal actually getting a kill. That's great coming out from him. That's the Bandit dropped, and Tsepu now the last one on the roam, and it doesn't look like they know of his position at the moment. He can go for a slow flank at the moment. He could definitely net himself a few kills on the spot.
Yeah,
But,
this
yeah.
could be incredibly powerful here. But they have to not spot him, which I think.
Oh,
That's
unfortunate
actually
for
gonna
Kaiko,
connect.
directly walking into the C4.
Yeah, so that's going to be a big
Attackers have
disruption
located a
in their
bomb.
plans. 3v4.
And we see a great top full of battle coming out at the moment, but Ergo on the Sophia is currently in bathrooms, and it doesn't look like they're in nervous position. If he can hold this angle passively and they just happen to rotate into his crosshairs, he could get himself a few kills here as SABC actually opening up into ventilation units, and oh, unfortunate, Jaeger gets the kill for the Sophia, now on a 4-1-2 as they start to rotate around. Thermite still holding the vertical angles, but Zikotso just peeking into the hatch. Tsepu left still top floor as Cannibal now in main lobby, just peeking into the hallway, doing a lot of damage onto Castle, but it's a tango at the moment and they're just wasting time. ISIBLACK take the round.
Yeah, that was pretty much unwinnable as soon as they started losing, you know, one player was kind of slipping away from them. They weren't able to get any trades, they weren't really able to get anything going, and yeah, they just kind of slipped out of their hands, slipped out of their control.
And quite interesting actually, ISIBLACK with the advantage, they are on match point, they decide to go custom supply room. First time we're seeing this site being held.
Yeah, so this is interesting. This is another site that could potentially be pretty strong, potentially be pretty powerful. It definitely changes things up a little bit, and it allows you to sort of switch up your playstyle a little. So this to me says that at least they have the ability to pick a different site, you know, so we don't see the same repetition over and over and over
Bomb
again.
located by attackers.
Yeah, and well, it looks like they have some strats for it. As let's see what they can do. Very linear operator lineup coming out is, but Tabu actually on the castle. Let's see what he can do with that operator.
Yeah, this is probably the curveball that ISIBLACK are trying to throw into the mix here. You know, they've got the 1-round lead now, and they kind of want to maintain that at the moment. So instead of just playing the potential 50-50 that the other team has sort of felt out their playstyle, they decide to pick a completely different site on the map and hope that the sort of unknown element there works to their advantage.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
Yeah, and if I'm Team Incremental, I'm definitely scared at the moment, as you just don't know how they're gonna play this. They haven't taken it in the previous round. You kind of have to face check everything. But looks like Team Incremental as well knowing what they're doing, and very early on they might be looking to open up the wall. Angles being opened up above, and Pulse actually holding it, but if they can throw in a nade, he could get dropped.
Oh, this could be a potential.
Oh, unfortunate. Just missing the thermite.
Yeah, it looks like their play was a little bit premature. The Pulse should have probably watched for that one a little bit longer, just a smidge longer, to make sure that the player was playing close. But Thermite was completely aware of the possibility that something comes flying through that hole, so backs off and doesn't get taken out immediately, at least.
CCTV control now on the side of Team Incremental, but both Isi on the Jaeger and Isitepo on the Mozzie contesting it from afar at the moment as they just hold hallway, making sure they can't rotate out of CCTV. Sure, they have the angles, the vertical angles from CCTV, but they can't do anything further than that. And that's great play coming out from Team ISIBLACK, as they know the only thing you can do to really counter these angles is just to make sure they can't get anything but those angles.
Ooh, so the Thermite's going to finally be able to blow this wall open. And
Oh,
unfortunate. There it is. That's
just
gonna,
barely
yeah,
getting
that's
touched.
gonna deny a lot of big stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of strange because we see Team Incremental, they have the capital. They can take care of that bandit tricking, they're just not doing it at the moment.
Yeah, that wall can be a pretty big piece of the puzzle to open up.
Pimpy getting a kill, peeking aggressively into the CCTV hatch, but both the Mozzie and the Jaegers just still holding CCTV. They can't rotate out of this. Sure, they have control of top floor, but with the wall still not open, and CCTV really being your only point of contention, you have to either rush stock or just drop CCTV hatch. They don't really have anything to do at the moment.
Yeah, the options are pretty limited here, which I think is pretty well played from the defender's side. Really limiting the choices that the attackers have to sort of get in here.
Looks like we actually missed the Thermite breach going open as well. They now have control of stock room, as well as the Nomad charge being placed on the jail rotate. With the plant going down, this is looking actually good for Team Incremental.
Attackers are activating
Yeah, there's some great vision now coming from the Capital. There's some area control. It's really
Defender is
difficult.
approaching a kill.
Ooh, look at this
Ooh.
Mozzie runner. Totally aware of it. Really well played there.
Just coming down to gunfights at the moment as the Nomad is low, but Isitabo as well almost gets the impact onto the Nomad, but Jaeger peeking wide does damage onto the Nomad, but not checking his angles as Tabo actually going for the defuse, but
It might be time for this unless it's
Kaiko
Capital.
thinks he's
He looked at
faking it.
the time,
He
actually. There
gets
it
it. That's ISIBLACK taking the game.
Defenders win.
Yeah, that was well played there. That was clean. They just saw a gap. Isitabo just took the gap, straight up went in for it. The Capital wasn't aware that it was actually just being straight up done. Runs in a bit too late and the defuse comes through. ISIBLACK, they win.
Well, this man has balls of steel. Imagine the pressure on him. Just his team screaming in the comms. He's rushing. But no, he gets it. And well, Team ISIBLACK getting into the semifinals of the esports faction Rainbow Six Rivals. And thank you so much for watching. We will head into a break quickly as we will return for the second match of the quarterfinals. This has been Patrick Fennick and Kanye Diffuse. Thank you so much.